How comfortable are you with your estimates? Do you have financial managers putting pressure on you to reduce the cost of your project? Whilst other stakeholders, particularly those downstream, tend to want to lift the amount of contingency just in case something goes wrong or for potential enhancements. Hi, my name is Gavin Halleck and I'm from Risk Tools, and I've been working in the risk, uncertainty, cost space for the last 25 years. As a project manager and as a consultant helping clients, I can certainly relate to the tension of getting a good estimate that everybody can agree on. Today, what I want to show you is how, with the right system, you can improve project and business outcomes, better define project scope, manage uncertainty of your estimate costs, not just during the planning phases of a project to gain approval, but over the whole life cycle of the project. All with a visible process that enables stakeholders to see the level of detail, have confidence in the estimate, which in turn reduces queries, which in return reduces stress on yourself. Let's start by looking at maturity and the resulting benefits.
There are a range of project management maturity level models, but most have 5 levels: ad hoc, repeatable, defined, managed, and integrated. What I have done here is relate these levels so they are specific to estimating. Ad hoc, where an estimate is produced in isolation by an individual. Contingency is often just a flat percentage. Repeatable, where the same process is used across more than one project. There may be some discrete formula for assessing contingency. Defined, where the estimate includes modelling of the range of variables in an estimate to derive a visible contingency. Managed, where the system enables the estimate derived in planning to be used by those undertaking monthly updates of a project's end cost. And finally, integrated, where contingency may be assessed not just for projects, but also for groups of projects such as programs or portfolios. Why is this important? Well, it directly affects project and business outcomes. In an ad hoc environment, there are regular cost shocks. It's also pretty stressful, with many please explains. Significant cost over or underruns are normal, noting of course that underruns are undesirable as they tie up funds that could have been used elsewhere. Steady improvements occur as maturity increases, until, with an integrated system in place, managing estimates is so consistent that the cost outcomes of projects, and across the business, are predictable. This has a direct impact on an organisation's financial management, as groups of projects hand back contingency progressively as soon as it is not required. Gone are the days of hanging on to contingency till the end. Importantly, stress levels reduce as maturity increases. Before leaving this slide, there are, of course, 2 headlines. Where are you now? Where would you like to be? Importantly, getting to managed is something a PM can do purely for their project. Integration requires program managers or the like to adopt the system. Of course, introducing any new system has challenges. When it comes to estimates, there are 3 that surface regularly. Estimating is often undertaken by specialists who may be inside or outside an organisation. In many cases, estimating has been tailored to a specific environment. There is a good deal of ownership in this situation. Overcoming this challenge is by demonstrating that the system is repeatable and saves time for all involved in project cost management. The second is estimate lines will vary from well-honed values, using good historical data, through to complete guesses. Contingency allowances are designed to accommodate such variables. If contingency is assessed in isolation, then individual bias occurs and the value is usually conservative. For example, an individual may select a range from the upper end of values. As a result, it effectively has contingency built in. Add a contingency allowance at the bottom of the page and the result is contingency on contingency. The key here is to hold a small workshop. This overcomes individual bias. Having a standardized process focused on the range of quantities and rates gives a repeatable structure to estimate reviews. Estimating is often an activity purely to support project approval. Once a project gets the go-ahead, that's it. Job done. However, if a good system is in place, the data can be used by downstream managers for ongoing management and in particular monthly reporting of a project's forecast end cost. From the above, it will be apparent that an efficient workshop process is key. The drivers are twofold: reviewing the estimate to reduce the possibility of missing or incorrect scope, and to assess the variables, normally quantities and rates, as a lead-in to assessing contingency. So let's look at the process. A workshop requires a small team generally comprising the estimator, designer, project manager, and others such as the client as may be appropriate. It is essentially an inquisitorial workshop with the discussion focused on the appropriate range of quantities and rates for each line item. Questions such as, where is that shown on the documents? How has that figure been derived? Is there a better way of doing this? What does that interface with? All help to refine the estimate and improve the scope. With the range of variables in place, a model can be built using a Monte Carlo simulation to derive a suitable contingency.
In the past, such models have been the domain of expensive consultants. I confess I know, I was one of them. It was taking me as long to prepare for a workshop and write a report as to undertake the facilitation. That was expensive, inefficient, and did nothing for ongoing management. As a result, we developed a simple toolset called Contingency Estimator, so that any project manager can input data during a workshop, update information as it becomes available, and literally, with a click of a button, run a Monte Carlo simulation. With that in mind, let's take a quick look at the toolset.
There are 4 quick steps I would like to outline here. We'll start with uploading an estimate from a worksheet. Once a new project is opened, data may be imported. Brief project details are added, and then the spreadsheet columns that relate to item number, description, unit, quantity and rate, and if applicable notes, are selected from the drop-downs, and the project is uploaded. Once a project is uploaded, we are ready for the workshop. Opening a project gives rise to the following screen. The various worksheets in the estimate can be seen at the bottom of the page. Initially, there will be 4 cells for each line item which do not have data and are shown in red. These are for best case quantities, worst case quantities, best case rates, and worst case rates. Each item is worked through. Some will be quick discussions and others will be more wide-ranging and reflect on the open questions suggested earlier. Fast forward a few minutes and the data is built up. If the same description appears on more than one worksheet, then the data from the earlier worksheet shows up as green and can be viewed and, if appropriate, copied, either quantities, rates, or both. Similarly, items can be added or deleted. Once data has been entered, a Monte Carlo simulation may be run. If you want more detail on Monte Carlo simulations, this is covered in a separate video. A simulation may be run for a single project, worksheet, or any combination thereof. First, Select the number of iterations. Normally 1,000 is the standard, and in this case we'll go for a P85. We don't want all of the groups in this particular project, so we select the ones that we do, and the reports are then delivered, comprising a histogram, listing, and a tornado. A histogram showing the distribution of results. Each report identifies which worksheets have been selected. I should add that the logo would be changed to yours. The P50 and P85 points are identified, and at the bottom the values of contingency and totals for the selection are summarised. A second report, called a tornado diagram, shows those items that are driving the bottom line. These are the items to focus on next, as better information will reduce the bandwidth of uncertainty of the quantities or rates. Improved data will reduce the contingency allowance. The third report summarises the input data. Stakeholders can review this and, if they disagree with any item, discuss that with the project team. For some projects, particularly developers, there is a second area of variability that will be a key focus, namely income. As an example, a subdivision may have a variety of block sizes and also have a range of sale prices. Contingency estimator enables these variables to be assessed and modelled. A what-if analysis is also possible with different mixes of block sizes being modelled to identify an optimum development. The last element is ongoing cost management. Once a workshop has been held and the initial data entered, ongoing management is about updating items that have changed. As planning progresses, new and often more accurate information is gathered. It is a simple step to update the changed data and rerun the simulation. That said, this activity should not be limited to planning, as it is just as important once work is underway. Those undertaking the work will, as part of governance, be expected to provide, normally a monthly, updated forecast of the project's end costs. Items that have been completed are updated to reflect the actual value. Hence, for our install 48-inch RCP, the quantity remains the same, 175. The actual rate was 239.5. The amount is applied for best, most likely, and worst case. This value will be reflected in the total, but as there is no variability, the item will not make any contribution to the contingency amount. As a result, the contingency allowance will reduce. The progressive reduction of contingency on a project is a critical benefit to an organisation's financial management. Reducing contingency progressively means funds can be released, e.g. allowing a new project to start earlier. That covers a system for managing estimate uncertainty over the complete project cycle. Key drivers are: it's a system managed by the project manager, which includes being able to model the variables without actually having to build a Monte Carlo simulation. It results in improved project and thereby business outcomes, all with a visible system that increases stakeholder confidence in the data and the estimate. So where to from here? Well, you can visit the RiskTools website and play with the software demo to get a better feel for how easy it is to use. You can also purchase a subscription and use it on a project. One thing that is certain, the time and cost saved by users will be many more times than the cost of a subscription.
And with that, it only remains for me to say thank you for your time, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next video.